Hi everyone, Michele Courage here today. Just thought I'd do a quick energy reading for you. I'm working with the new Rebecca Campbell's The Rose Oracle card deck. Gorgeous energy, smells divine, still smells just like a rose when I first opened it. Just amazing. Haven't worked a lot with this deck. I've been really excited. You can go watch my other video on the card that I pulled. It's on my YouTube channel. So let's see what the guidance is for me and guidance as a whole today. Beautiful day here in New Zealand. We used to live in Wellington and now we've moved to the country into a rural property. And so this rose, I've been planting rose bushes and really enjoying the rose energy in my life. Okay. So the card that I've got is open. Say yes, expand through the extremes, trust life. Open. And open does mean total surrender. Surrender to what is. Expand through the extremes. Yes, sometimes the learning can be extreme. And trust life. Trust the unfolding. I think the deeper you go on your spiritual journey, the more you understand about this trust thing. The more you learn to trust, the more you learn to be in allowance and to become almost an observer rather than the participator in drama, in stuff that's happening. The world is in turmoil at the moment, but there are parts of the world that are not in turmoil. And it depends on your reality, where you're at, where you've placed yourself as a soul right at this moment in time. Number one, you placed yourself as a soul in this time, this special time on earth, because it is such an awakening time. And number two, where did you place yourself on earth? You knew as a soul you would be specifically in a certain place at a certain time, and at this time, where do you find yourself? And then tap into that energy. And if you feel completely aligned, then you know that you're in alignment and you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And, personally, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it's not always that comfortable, where you are. But understanding the surrender and the allowance to allow the unfolding. I had a beautiful comment to me early on in my spiritual journey when I arrived in New Zealand. I met someone and they turned around and they said, the message to you is allow the universe to reveal itself to you. And I find that I keep coming back to that, is not trying to control. If you're a bit of a control freak like I am, it's something that I'm working through in this lifetime. I'm very much a driver. If I want to do something, I get on with it and I do it. But sometimes that is the learning, is the unlearning of that inherent pattern that we have. So yes, let's quickly read what Rebecca has to say about open. I'm really loving the energy in this card deck, the Rose Oracle. Okay, 98. Let's have a look and see what she's saying. Okay, this is probably one of the biggest challenges of life. Agreed. keeping your heart open through the extremes. And yes, the heart, it's one of the things, we all have to work on, is keeping your heart open. When somebody hurts you, to keep your heart open and not close it off to that person or those types of situations, especially involving the heart. When you love, trust, and that gets broken or damaged, it's a big thing to keep your heart open. It's a big thing to keep your heart open to, world leaders at the moment who are either not doing enough or who are really not behaving in the way that, normal expectation of human being behavior is. Define normal. Okay, no one is immune to the highs and lows of the human experience, from the ecstasy to the agony, the joy to the grief, the love to the loss. We can't bypass the difficult parts of being human if we want to truly experience the bliss. And if you close your heart off to the grief, you won't be able to fully experience the joy. There's opposites to everything, and we have to be able to understand the process of what we go through to experience the high. The opposite of joy, like you say, is the most uncomfortable space to be in. But how will we know what joy is if we don't experience the other side of it? The rose teaches us this season after season. She knows that if she doesn't surrender to each of the seasons, come summer, she won't be able to bloom. If you think about it, the rose bush gets chopped down. They bloom beautifully if you give them a good pruning. I've just planted some roses in the new garden, and they bloomed beautifully for about a week or two, and then I know we're starting to go into winter now, and they're gonna go, they're not going to bloom so hard, and they need a good pruning and cutting, and then they will come back and flourish even more gloriously in the springtime. So this is what a rose teaches us. The safer the mother feels, the more she can open. Lying and dying with your heart open is truly a courageous act, as a life well lived is full of losses and tragedies, as well as great love, triumphs and adventures. When we're going through difficult times, when we most want to separate, the healing is often found in connection, not separation. When we close our heart and shut down because the pain is too much, we often find ourselves more separate than before. And the rose shows us how to open to the world no matter what the day brings. This card is here to encourage you to say yes to life, to expand through the extremes, and to put your 2 feet wholly and completely in. It's really interesting for me, with us having moved to rural, it's been a real adjustment. Interesting. I'm missing a few friends. I'm missing the opportunity to go for a cuppa and a coffee. And it's a little uncomfortable. And yet I know that I'm absolutely in alignment, that my soul wants this. So, say yes, expand to the extremes. Open to the world. That's the other thing, is I'm not the kind of person who always shares what I'm going through, especially if it's deeply upsetting for me. I shut down and deal with it by myself. But I think, we are being nudged to maybe share a bit more, to open up, and yes, understand that that makes us more vulnerable. Just like when the rose opens, the rose, when she's tight and closed, is a pretty strong bud, but when she opens, she's vulnerable. But then you get to savor the beauty. When you watch a bee land on a rose and just touch the inside, it's so gentle and so gorgeous. And then when the rose is basically spent, the slightest touch and all the petals just fall off. So yeah, it's but it's not the end. It's not the end. It comes back even stronger. So through adversity, and I think from an energy read, that is exactly how the world is shaping at the moment, through all this adversity that we've been through, and it's been extreme. For most of us, none of us have lived through this type of, many of us have not lived through this type of experience before, you know, and I think it's quite scary. And I think understand that this makes us stronger. We will come back even stronger as humanity. I believe our values are going to be so much different, so much stronger. We're going to be so much more resilient and stronger in our conviction around the way we want to treat people, and how we want to be treated. So I'm going to leave you with that today. And yeah, if you want to, I really recommend, highly recommend Kyle Gray. I use his angel cards, and obviously work your light with Rebecca, and this is now this one as well, and the starseed one. Love working with Rebecca Campbell's energy and with her work, and Kyle Gray's as well. So thank you, and I will speak to you soon on another day, on another video.